you'll get those shots. So we'll start on our backs today, you guys, in Supta Baddha Konasana. So laying down, bringing the soles of your feet together and letting your knees fall open to the sides. You can let your arms go wherever you want. So you might bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. That's where I like to place them in this posture, just so I can feel my breath a little bit more. Wherever you end up settling, just close your eyes. Start to let go of your morning. Let go of the day you have planned after this. Start to shift your focus to your breath and how your body's feeling today. Notice if there are any tight spots in your body, if it's feeling pretty good. Then start to notice your breath. Notice where it's moving in the body. See if you can start to deepen your breath. So your inhales and exhales start to extend. You allow the breath to fill the ribs and the sides of the ribs and the belly. And as you exhale, you allow all the air to leave your body. Take just about 3 more breaths right here. Once you feel that your breath has deepened and you've started to focus a little more, you can blink your eyes open. Just bring your hands to the outsides of your legs and draw your knees into your chest. You can give yourself a little hug for a moment, maybe rock side to side. I like to circle my legs to massage the fronts of the hip socket. Take another moment right here, finding whatever movement feels good. Then eventually bring yourself back to center. We're finding eagle legs. So allow your right thigh to cross over your left thigh, and then you can wrap your foot around the calf or leave it unwrapped. The knees will essentially be straight up from the hips, so it's kind of like a tabletop position. From here, you can take eagle arms, left over right, if that feels good. If your arms aren't ready for eagle, you can take them into just kind of a parallel tabletop position. From here, take an inhale. Feel the back of your body broaden and the front of it narrow. As you exhale, tap your toes and fingertips to the floor. So the toes lower down, the hands come behind the head. As you inhale, bring everything back to center. You should feel the core start to activate. As you exhale, tap again. Notice if your body changed shape at all. See if you can engage the core a little bit more. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, tap them down again. Don't let the ribs open in the front. Inhale, bring it back to center. And then exhale, gently release. Draw your knees into your chest for a moment. Just finding equilibrium again between sides. Then we'll find the opposite side. So left thigh crosses over right in our eagle legs. Right arm over left with eagle arms, or that tabletop position in the arms. Take an inhale to broaden the back, narrow the front. As you exhale, toes and fingers tap without changing the shape of your torso. Inhale, bring it back to center. Feel the core activate. Then exhale, tap again. Inhale, bring them back to center. Exhale, tap. Then inhale, bring it back to center. And exhale, release. Draw both knees into your chest for a moment. Feel that little squeeze into the body. From here, we'll make our way to a low boat pose. So as you inhale, extend the legs, start to reach the arms forward, shoulders come off the mat. Imagine hollowing out through the front of your body here. Take 1 round of breath. Next inhale, we come to high boat, draw the knees into the chest, reach the arms forward. We take just 1 inhale here. Then exhale, cross the legs, roll over the shins, and just make your way to a tabletop position. Stack the hands right underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. On an inhale, we'll drop the belly and bring the gaze high, finding our cow pose. Really open through the front of the body. As you exhale, press into the floor and find your cat. Scoop out through the belly. Feel even the shins pressing into the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high again, cow pose. Then exhale, curl into your cat. Feel the tailbone tuck underneath you. 1 more round, inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high. And exhale, curl into your cat. Come back to a neutral spine here. And we'll reach our right hand forward and left leg back. just to bend your back leg and grab the inside of the foot with your hand. From here, we'll inhale and start to kick the foot into the hand to create a back bend here. Imagine the front of your body expanding. You might feel a stretch in the right arm, maybe the front of the left leg. Take one more round of breath here. See if you can kick a little bit more on your exhale. Next, inhale, gently extend the arm and leg long. Let your left toes come to the floor, legs stay straight, and just let both hands walk towards the left side of your mat. So you're pivoting on your knee to find gate latch legs here. As you inhale, you'll bring the shoulders over the hips to find your capital T arms. Exhale, left hand to left leg, right fingertips reach up and over. Find a deep side bend here. Breathe into the right side of the rib cage. Imagine separating the ribs from the top of the hip bone. Next, inhale, use the obliques to bring you back to center. As you exhale, hands come down to the floor in front of you. Walk the hands forward, keep lifting the tailbone high to find a puppy dog variation. So your thigh will stay vertical in back of you. Your chest in front of the armpits will melt towards the floor. You can feel that nice stretch into the arms, underneath the arms, maybe even into your left inner thigh. Take one more round of breath right here. Next, inhale, start to walk your hands back under your shoulders. Keep walking them all the way back to the front of the mat. Pivot on the knee. Come back to your tabletop position. Reset if you need. Make sure the knees are still underneath the hips. From here, the left fingertips will reach forward. Right leg reaches back as you inhale. Exhale, bend the leg. Grab onto that foot. Inhale, start to kick into that hand. Find your back bend on this side. Imagine expanding through the front of the right leg. Letting the stretch move up into the hips, maybe even the abs. We have one more round of breath to kick. On your next inhale, gently reach the arm and leg long. Exhale, right toes come to the floor. The hands walk over to the right side of the mat. Pivot on your knee to find your gate latch legs. And inhale, bring your arms up to your capital T shape. As you exhale, it's right hand to right leg. Left fingertips reach up and over. Find your deep side bend here. Notice how you can deepen your stretch by sliding the hands down the leg. Take one more round of breath. Inhale, use the left obliques to bring you back to center. As you exhale, hands come down to the floor in front of you, puppy dog variation on this side. Walk your hands forward, let your chest drop down to the floor. Keep lifting your tailbone high. Feel that stretch underneath the arms, into the chest, maybe the right inner thigh. Take one more round of breath here. Next, inhale, start to walk your hands back under your shoulder and then all the way to the front of your mat. Right knee comes in as you pivot to find your tabletop position. Inhale, tuck your toes. Exhale, send the hips high, find a downward dog. It's probably your first down dog of the day, so you can pedal out the feet if you want, bending and straightening the knees, maybe noticing how the ankles and calves feel. Start to become aware of the contact of your palms and fingertips into the floor, making sure you have nice, wide, broad hands. This is important for arm balances later on. Start to find stillness in your down dog, lifting the tailbone high, pressing the floor away from you with the hands. Make sure the legs are very active here. On an inhale, roll forward into high plank. Really articulate through the spine. Allow the shoulders to align over the wrists. As you exhale, leading with the hips, press the hips high into your down dog once more. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, roll it forward into your high plank. Really articulate through the spine. And exhale, send the hips high. One more round. Inhale, roll it forward, high plank. And exhale, press the hips high, down dog. Bring your gaze forward, start to walk your feet to the top of your mat, finding your rag doll. Feet and hip width distance. Take that big bend in the knees to let the torso hang over the thighs. Maybe you take opposite elbows, interlace behind the head, whatever feels best here. You have a breath or 2 to find some movement. Maybe sway, maybe shake the head yes and no. Make sure the crown of your head's really heavy here. Take one more deep inhale. And exhale, gently release the arms, keep the bend in the legs and start to roll up through the spine nice and slow. Eventually, when you come to standing, take a big shoulder roll up and back just to open through the front of the body and step the feet together underneath you, finding your standing mountain pose, Tadasana. The legs root down into the floor. The crown of the head reaches to the ceiling. As you inhale, reach the arms high, let your gaze follow. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment to bow your chin, close your eyes, set an intention for your practice this morning. Whatever you would like to focus your mind on. We'll seal that intention with a breath. Deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Seal lips, find your Ujjayi breath. So we breathe in and out through the nose with that little constriction at the back of the throat. And this constriction is going to create an oceanic sound when we breathe. Take about 3 rounds of Ujjayi breath right here. Let it start to heat up your body. One more breath. Now maintain this Ujjayi as you blink your eyes open, moving into our Sun A. Inhale, reach the arms high. This is our Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, the hands come to the low back, fingertips up or down to give support. Inhale, start to lift the heart to the ceiling, arcing over the hands. As you exhale, find your first back bend here. Try to press the hips forward a little bit. On your next inhale, take out the back bend, arms reach high. Then exhale, hinge forward from the hips, forward fold, release over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, plant your palms, step back into a high plank. We've been here before. Make sure you have that nice long line from heels to the crown of the head. Inhale, shift your weight forward so your shoulders move past your wrists. We exhale into our chaturanga. Find a 90-degree bend in the elbows. Keep squeezing them into the body, legs are active. Inhale, pull your chest through, come to the tops of your feet, upward dog. And then exhale, hips go high, downward dog. 2 full Ujjayi breaths right here. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet, maybe try hopping to the top of your mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen the spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, let your gaze follow. Exhale, hands come to the low back once more for our second back bend. Inhale, start to lift your heart to the ceiling, and as you exhale, see if you can go a little further, tracing that line across the ceiling towards the back wall. Inhale, lift with the sternum first to take out the back bend, arms reach high. And exhale, hinge forward from the hips, forward fold. This is our Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the palms, move right into your chaturanga. So on that same exhale, we want to bend those elbows. Inhale, pull your chest through, upward facing dog. Now maybe on your exhale, you come back to chaturanga again. Inhale, you press to high plank. And exhale, downward dog. So those double chaturanga vinyasas are a great way to work on your arm strength, and it only takes an extra second in each vinyasa flow. Take 2 more rounds of breath right here. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch. Inhale is our halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Then exhale, forward fold. 1 more round of our Sun A. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. This time, keep the palms together. We find our back bend on our exhale, unsupported this time. See if you can still imagine arcing up and over your hands. Inhale, take out the back bend, reach the hands to the ceiling. And exhale, hinge forward over the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, take a vinyasa. Maybe you add in that double chaturanga. Maybe you hop to your chaturanga. Whatever you feel like doing today, make sure you connect with your breath. Once you arrive in your downward dog, let your elbows come down to your mat for your dolphin pose. You can do this one or both at the same time. Essentially, our forearms are resting on the mat. Our hands are still planted on the floor. From here, you start to tiptoe your feet forward, trying to lift your hips to the ceiling. Goal here is to get the hips stacked over the shoulders as much as possible, even if your heels don't stay on the floor. We get 2 rounds of breath here to work on strengthening our shoulders. On your next inhale, tiptoe to your forearm plank. So arms stay exactly as they are, feet tiptoe back. On an exhale, let your hips come down, untuck the toes. We're in our Sphinx. Make sure the elbows are still aligned over the shoulders, palms are on the mat. Think about dragging your chest through your arms and pressing your feet into the floor. From here, as you inhale, start to press your hands into the mat, just straighten the arms. As you exhale, let the elbows come back down. We're doing this 2 more times. Inhale, press into the mat, straighten the arms, use your triceps. Exhale, let it come down. 1 more inhale, press into the mat, lift the elbows. And exhale, release it down. Now from here, inhale, tuck your toes. Find your forearm plank once more. As you exhale, we're coming to a slightly longer dolphin. So imagine your feet are more in down dog shape, a little less close in. From here, the same motion we just did. As you inhale, press your palms into the mat, lift your elbows, and you're in your downward dog. If you did not end up in your downward dog, feel free to make your way there however you see fit. Once you find your down dog, we have 2 breaths. 1 more round of breath. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana, bend the legs, reach the arms down and up to the ceiling. As you exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Now we're finding eagle legs on the right, so start to draw your right leg into your chest, cross your right thigh over your left, maybe you wrap the foot. We're just working on establishing our standing balance here on this first round. Make sure you bend nice and deep into your left leg. Pull your right hip back. 1 more round of breath right here. Next inhale, keep chair in your left leg. Draw your right knee into your chest. And exhale, right foot meets the left. We do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, left leg draws into the chest. Exhale, eagle legs, wrapping the left thigh over right. Maybe you wrap the ankle. See if you can sit a little bit lower in your chair. Keep reaching the crown of your head to the ceiling. 1 more round of breath. Next inhale, left knee draws into the chest. Exhale, left foot meets the right. Inhale, reach your arms to the ceiling. We're back in our Utkatasana. Then exhale, forward fold. Release over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant your palms, step back into your high plank. Now we touched on these belly down chairs last week, so we're going to go forward again here. As you inhale, start to bend your legs, keep your arms straight as you send the hips back. So imagine you're making chair pose facing the floor. Now on our exhale, we're moving right to our chaturanga. So shoot forward with the legs, really use them as you bend the elbows. Inhale, pull your chest through, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Make sure you still have your Ujjayi breath here. On your next inhale, right leg reaches high. Exhale, step through between the hands. Left heel comes down to the mat for our warrior 1. As you inhale, reach the arms up. The first warrior of the day right here, make sure your right hip is back, left hip forward. We're engaging our low abs so that we can lengthen the low back here. Take an inhale, maybe a gentle back bend. As you exhale, hands frame the foot, low lunge. You can let your left knee come down, untuck the toes behind you. Inhale, reach the arms up, Anjaneyasana. So we're targeting the front of that left hip on this side, so drop the hips low. Imagine there's kind of a weight hanging there that makes you go lower. Take another inhale. Exhale, cactus the arms, take a back bend. Really pull the elbows down by the sides. Inhale, reach the arms high once more. Exhale, plant the palms. From here, we inhale, tuck the left toes, step back into a high plank. Now, as we exhale, we're finding that belly down chair, but with the knees twisting to the right. So come to the outside of your left foot, inside of your right foot, then bend your legs. So both knees should point to the right side of the room. From here, as we inhale, we're finding our side plank. Left side is our base. So legs and hips stay twisted. Just straighten your legs. Stack right leg on top of left. And reach the right fingertips high. We get 2 rounds of breath here. Maybe you try hovering that right leg off the mat for fun. Make sure you're engaging those low obliques, this left side. 1 more inhale here. 1 more exhale here. On your next inhale, come to your high plank, both hands and feet on the floor. Exhale, chaturanga. Move through your flow. Whatever vinyasa you would like to take today, Just make sure it's connected to your breath. Once you reach your downward dog, you get one full round of Ujjayi breath. Next, inhale, left leg reaches high. Exhale, step through between your hands. We're setting up for warrior one on our second side. Right heel is down as we inhale, reach the arms up. Pausing a moment in this first warrior one on this side. Make sure left hip is back, right hip forward. Lengthen your low back, engage the front of the body. Take another inhale, maybe a gentle back bend. Then exhale, low lunge, hands frame the foot. Let your right knee come down and untuck the toes. Inhale, reach the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Drop the hips nice and low, feel that stretch through the front of the right hip. Take another inhale. Exhale, we get to cactus and find that back bend. Notice how that increases the stretch in the front of the right hip. Inhale, reach the arms high, take out your back bend. Exhale, hands frame the left foot. Engage your right leg, so tuck those toes, kneecap comes off the mat. Inhale, step your left foot back into your high plank. Now as we exhale, we find our twisted chair the other way. So come to the outside of the right foot, inside of the left foot. Bend your legs, twisting your hips to the left side. Make sure the arms are straight and strong. As you inhale, we find our side plank, right side is our base. All you have to do is straighten those legs, stack left side over right. We get 2 breaths here. Maybe you lift a leg. Make sure you still have your Ujjayi breath. One more round. Next, inhale is our high plank, both hands and feet on the floor. Then exhale, Vinyasa. Move through your flow. Use this time to reconnect with your breath. Once you reach your down dog, you get 3 Ujjayi breaths. Calming everything down, reconnecting with those inhales and exhales. One more breath. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose again, Utkatasana, then nice and deep into the legs, reach the arms high. As you exhale, we're finding eagle arms, right leg or right arm over left. So right over left, bend the elbows, bring the palms together or wrap the arms around the shoulders. Make sure you're still sitting nice and deep in your chair. The elbows are lifting away from the heart. As you inhale, draw your right knee into your chest. As you exhale, we go to warrior 3. So start to tip the body forward, kick the right leg back, finding your capital T shape with eagle arms. Keep the arms active here. If they relax, it's going to be a lot harder to balance. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, warrior 1 leg. So bend that left leg nice and deep. Right leg lands behind you. Inhale, reach the arms high, warrior 1. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, prayer twist. Right elbow to the outside of the left leg. I know we're on the left side first. I may or may not have messed that up, but we'll still do both sides. So make sure that you're really twisting towards that left side, gazing over the left shoulder. Take one more round of breath here. On your next inhale, unwind, reach both arms high to the sky. Then exhale, low lunge, hands frame that foot. Let your right knee come down, untuck the toes, and inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, we're moving right to our half split, our Ardha Hanumanasana. So shift your weight towards that right leg, straighten the left leg. If you feel like working on full splits in your practice today, you have time here. So you might start to slide that left leg forward, lowering the hips down. If you take your full split, see if you can keep pulling your left hip back. So we're making it a goal to stay relatively square here. Wherever you are, we have about 3 more breaths. If you're in full split, start to make your way back to your half splits. And then everyone moves to our lizard pose on an inhale. So start to bend into your left leg. Let both hands come inside of your left foot. You might move that foot outward slightly. And you can take whichever variation you want today. So you might stay on your hands. You might come down to your forearms. You can grab your foot. If you want to work on tucking a shoulder under the leg, you can do that by tucking your left shoulder under your left leg and then coming to your forearms. Lots of different ways you can turn yourself into a pretzel on this pose. We have about 4 full breaths. Two more breaths. If you have your foot, gently release it on an exhale. Everyone comes back to their hands on an inhale. Gently toe heel your left foot in between your hands. Tuck your right toes, engage the legs so the kneecap comes off the mat. Inhale, step your left foot back into high plank. Now as we exhale, we're taking that twisted belly down chair again to the left. So point your knees and hips to the left, bend the legs, keep the elbows straight. Now this time, as we exhale, we move right to our chaturanga. So in one movement, you square everything off and bend the elbows. Inhale, pull your chest through, upward facing dog. Then exhale, send the hips high, downward dog. You get 2 rounds of breath right here. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana, bend nice and deep into the legs, reach the arms up high. As we exhale, we find our eagle, arms opposite side. So left arm over right arm this time, find that cross. Make sure you're lifting the elbows away from the chest, sit nice and deep in your chair. As you inhale, draw the left knee into your chest. As you exhale, warrior 3 on your second side. Start to extend the left leg to the back, arms reach forward, capital T. Try to keep your left hip square to the floor. Take 1 more deep inhale. Exhale, warrior 1 leg. So bend that right leg, left foot lands behind you. Inhale, reach both arms high. Exhale, hands come to heart center. We take an inhale to lengthen our spine. Exhale, prayer twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Once you find that hook, really rotate your spine. See if you can keep your left heel planted on the floor. It's challenging, but it helps us keep square. Take 1 more round of breath here. Next inhale, start to bring the body up, unwind the arms. Then exhale, low lunge. Hands come down to frame that foot. Left knee comes down to the floor, untuck the toes. Inhale, reach the arms up, moving through your Anjaneyasana. As you exhale, we move into our half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. If you're in half split, make sure you're pulling the pinky toes towards your face and your right hip is pulling up and back. If you want to work into your full splits, slide that foot forward. Try to keep both legs as straight as possible here. If you need to go a little deeper, you can tuck your back toes and lift that kneecap off the mat. Wherever you are, we have about 4 more breaths. Two more. Make your way back to half split. If you're in your full split, nice and gentle. Then everyone inhales into our lizard pose. So bend your right leg, let both hands come inside of the foot, toe heel the foot outward slightly. Take whichever variation you took on the first side. So allow your body to feel even here. If you tucked on the first side, it'll be left shoulder under right leg. This is a useful stretch for our Tadibhasana later on, so maybe give it a try. You have about 3 more breaths here. If you grabbed your foot, gently release it on an exhale. Everyone makes their way back to their hands. Toe heel your right foot in between your 2 hands. Tuck your left toes, engage that leg. As we inhale, we step our right foot back into our high plank. As we exhale, it's our twisted chair to the right. So knees and hips point to the right. Bend the legs, keep the arms straight. Now on an exhale, you shoot everything forward to chaturanga. Take out the twist in the body. Inhale, pull the chest through, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Once you reach your down dog, we get 3 cleansing breaths before we get into the crazy stuff. So deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, let it go. One more time, inhale. Open mouth, let it go. Seal the lips, find your Ujjayi breath once more. And from here, bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat. Maybe try hopping. As we inhale, we find our half lift as well as sweeping our left leg back to find our revolved half moon. So left leg sweeps to 90 degrees, right fingertips reach to the ceiling. We twist towards that right leg. Now, like today I said, we're working on binds. So if you want, you can bend that left leg, grab for the inside of your foot with your right hand, and start to give yourself a kick. It's really similar to when we're on all fours, just with a straight bottom leg. Wherever you are, we have one more full round of breath. If you have the bind, release it on an inhale. Everyone finds Shiva squat on our exhale. Now today you can keep your fingertips on the floor. It's going to make this next transition a little easier. As we inhale, we move right to our half moon. So working the body the other direction, opening it towards the left side. Left side stacks over right. See if you can contract the left side, lengthen the right. Now again, option for a bind. Maybe you bend your left leg, reach back with your left hand to grab the outside of that foot. If you find it, you can start to kick into that hand, finding a back bend. We have 2 more breaths wherever you are. If you have the bind, release it on an inhale. Then everyone exhales into extended side angle. So bend that right leg, left leg lands behind you, right fingertips to the floor, or they can be on the knee. From here, the left arm can sweep above you, or you can take a half bind if you're working on binds today. Wherever you are, you might work into a full bind, right hand under right leg to grab the left hand. If you find your full bind, you can lift the chest off the leg and find that strength in the torso so you don't sit on the thigh. One more round of breath. Release your bind if you have it. Everyone inhales to bring the torso upright. Now straighten the right leg, pivot the toes so we face triangle towards the back of our mat. So left toes point to the back, right toes point to the side. Arms are in our capital T. Inhale, start to reach your left fingertips forward, right hip back. Then exhale, tip into your triangle. Try to keep the left side of your body long. You can do this by contracting the right side. Keep spiraling the right side open. 2 rounds of breath right here. See if you can hover your left hand off the floor. Next, inhale, bring the torso upright. Turn your left toes to face the same way as your right, working towards Prasarita. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, open through the heart. Then exhale, fold forward over the legs. Now we're working into our dynamic legs in our Prasarita that we've been doing this week. So start to walk your hands back so that your fingertips point forward, but they're almost behind your heels. From here, find Chaturanga arms. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, bend both legs as deep as you can. You might feel your hamstrings touch your triceps. As you inhale, lift the hips high and drop the head low. You're back in your Prasarita. As you exhale, bend the legs again, sit the hips low. Maybe shift your weight back slightly and play with letting your arms share a little bit of your weight. Nice. As you inhale, shift back forward, straighten the legs, drop the head. We have 1 more time. So exhale, bend those legs. Now this time, if you're feeling that contact point, you can shift your weight all the way to your hands and start to wrap your legs around your arms. From here, you might wrap one foot around the other, finding your pendant pose. Your arms are still in Chaturanga. You're really squeezing your arms into your legs into your triceps. So it's all about the inner thighs here. Take 1 more inhale to play. Good. Then as you exhale, as gracefully as you can, release your feet, step your feet back forward, and straighten your legs. Walk your hands underneath your face. We'll inhale to a halfway lift. Bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to standing. Good, you guys. From here, pivot your right toes to face the front of your mat. Left foot squares everything off. So we're working into our revolved triangle next. Your feet are about hip width distance and a narrower stance than in a lunge. Keep your right hand on your hip. Inhale, reach your left fingertips high. As you exhale, reach your left hand for the outside of your right foot. Eventually that hand will come to the floor, maybe a block if you need more support. Keep the right hip pulling back. Maybe start to spiral your chest towards the right leg. Right fingertips reach to the ceiling. You get 2 rounds of breath here. Try to keep the hips level and square. Bring your right hand back to your hip. Shift your gaze down towards the floor. As you inhale, reach your fingertips forward and up to bring your torso upright. Now as you exhale, just step your left foot to meet your right, hands come to heart center. Momentary pause to regain your breath. Inhale, reach your arms high, let your gaze follow. As you exhale, fold forward over the legs. We'll move our feet to around mat width distance for our Malasana squat. So heels come in, toes out. Drop your hips down nice and low. Now we're going to spend a few moments here before we work into our first round of our Firefly or Tadasana. So I encourage you here to really see how low you can get your hips and use your elbows to press into your legs to open them more. See if you can simultaneously press your legs into your arms so you feel your inner thighs engaged. This is a really important feeling for when we get into our arm balance. Take a few more breaths right here. Final inhale. And exhale, gently release your hands to the floor. Now to set up for this first one, we're going to straighten the legs for a second. Just pivot your toes so they're parallel. So we want our toes to point forward. From here, bend your legs a lot. Start to reach your hands back behind your feet. So it's like we're in a narrower version of that Prasarita stretch. From here, chaturanga the arms, bend the legs so much that you sit down onto your triceps. From here, see if you can shift to that pendant pose first. So one foot wrapped around the other. Keep squeezing the legs or into the arms. If you have success with that pendant pose, unhook your feet. Maybe try extending one leg and then the other. You can also do one leg at a time. Eventually, we start to straighten the arms and drop the hips down so that you're more vertical. You guys, so the exit strategy is bending the arms again, wrapping the feet, then planting the feet on the floor to end in a forward fold. So you can play with this Tadasana a little more if you want. This is kind of your workshop moment. I always take a peek at how it's going. I see a lot of people sitting. Hold on, I'm gonna unmute you guys. Like I said, Saturdays sometimes go into workshop days, so let's talk about it.
I can't get my elbows to bend. Like I can't do chaturanga arms for some reason.
Okay, that's something.
I don't know if I'm not.
And then Luann, you're muted right now, just so you know. Okay, cool. So we'll pause real quick and talk about it for a little bit on this side, and there will be a second chance to do it again. So the arm bending thing, it's hard. So with the arm bending, you have to get the hands back. So imagine like your legs have to be bent a lot. The more you walk the hands back, if I move my leg, it looks like this underneath me. So then you have to keep bending your legs to let the arm bend. So you almost end in like this weird little squat on your triceps. And then you can shift back from there. Rachel, looks like you might be doing it. Your camera's not tilted all the way down, so it's hard to see.
Sorry, here, let me.
Oh, you're good. Luann, how's it going?
What do you consider the final version? Is that like legs straight all the way? Or?
Yeah, so I usually will occasionally tip over when I do this, so don't judge. But it's eventually, you get it back here, you straighten the legs and the arms to drop the hips down low.
And the arms.
It's a total bow. That was good, Rachel.
Straighten your legs.
No, you don't go on mute. Caroline, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So once you get your balance point, you're crouched, your legs are on your arm, you have your balance, your feet are forward.
Uh-huh.
Not ready to light up. What is the next intermediate step?
So from there, I like to, so you find the pendant moment, wrapping. So that's kind of the first moment where you can play around. From there, instead of going vertical, you can start to straighten your legs, but stay tipped over. This is usually a little more accessible balance-wise. It takes a lot of trial and error when you start to go vertical. The number of times I've just totally tipped over backwards is comedic at this point, but yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's first time of it. So, we'll touch on it again on the second side, you guys. So really good. I'm gonna mute everybody again. We'll end in a forward fold. Take your feet to hip width distance. We'll take Padangusthasana, so our big toe forward fold here. So wrapping your peace fingers around your big toes. Give yourself a little bind. Once you're there, find a halfway lift as you inhale. And then exhale, use your arms to pull yourself forward. You can keep a deep bend in your legs here if you want. We're aiming for a belly to thigh connection. You can close your eyes even for a second. This is really just our key moment for regaining our concentration. It's useful to do those workshop moments, but we want to make sure that we can bring ourselves back to our breath and intention before we go to the other side. Take another round of breath, deep inhale. And then exhale, release your toes. Toe heel your feet back to touch underneath you. We're going to start our way on the other side. So as you inhale, start to find halfway lift in your torso. Start to brush your right leg back, finding our revolved half moon. So right leg reaches back to 90 degrees, left fingertips reach to the ceiling. Now if you worked into binds on your first side, bend your right leg, reach back with that left hand to grab the foot, and you can start to give yourself that kick into your hand. That'll lift the leg up. Take about 2 more breaths right here. On an inhale, gently release your bind if you have it. And as we exhale, we find Shiva squat. Bend the left leg, tap the right knee to the left calf. Fingertips stay on the floor. As we inhale, open into your half moon. So body opens to the right side stacks over left. We keep contracting that right side to lengthen the left. If you're working on binds, the right leg bends, right arm grabs the outside of the right foot. You can start to kick that foot into your hand to create your back bend. Wherever you are, we have 2 breaths. Whether you're in your half moon or your bind, keep everything very active, especially your bottom leg. On an inhale, gently release your bind, extending arm and leg long. We all exhale into our extended side angle. So bend that left leg, right foot lands behind you. Fingertips can go on the floor or elbow to knee. Right arm sweeps across the body and towards the front of the room. If you're working binds, either find your half bind, hand behind the back to your hip crease, or your full bind where your left hand reaches under the leg to find a little grab. From there, you might start to lift the torso off the leg to find length. Wherever we are, we get 2 breaths. If you have a bind, gently release it, coming back to your extended side angle. Everyone inhales back upright to straighten the left leg and pivot for our triangle to the back of your mat. So toes point towards the back, left toes point towards the side. Inhale, start to reach the right fingertips forward, left hip back. Then exhale, tip into your Trikonasana. Make sure that that left side stays contracted. So we're really trying to minimize the amount of weight in that right hand. Take about 2 more breaths here. Make sure your right quad is engaged. On your next inhale, start to bring the torso upright. Pivot the right toes to face the side of the mat. Here's our second round of our Prasarita. So bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, find a lift through your chest. And then exhale, fold forward over the legs. Hands come to the floor. Now here's the second chance to really practice our bending and straightening of the legs. So I'm gonna do it sideways so that you can see how far they're actually going. So start to walk your hands back, remembering you can bend the legs as much as you need here. From here, start to bend your elbows. So think like it's a hinge for your torso. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend the legs so much that you might start to feel the hips sit on the arms. From here, straighten the legs. Let the head drop low. This is an inhale. Exhale, bend the legs again. Sit the hips down nice and low. Make sure your hands are really far in back of you. That's key for being able to bend the arms. As you inhale, straighten the legs, drop the hip again. And then exhale, final time, bend the legs. Maybe you sit down on those arms so much that you can wrap your legs around your arms and find that hook of the feet for a moment. Not going into full Tadibasana yet. We're just practicing on getting into that first little arm balance here. Good, you guys. Final inhale. Exhale, release your legs gracefully as possible, bringing them back into your Prasarita. Walk the hands underneath the face. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Bring your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to standing. Now pivot your left toes to face the front of your mat. Right foot squares everything off. Working into our revolved triangle next. So inhale, reach the right fingertips high. Left hand pulls the left hip back. As you exhale, reach your right hand to the outside of the left foot. Make sure that we're still trying to keep the hips as level as possible. Inhale, maybe you reach the left fingertips to the ceiling, twisting towards the leg. We have about 3 rounds of breath here. Keep the legs very active. Try to keep lifting weight out of your right shoulder, even though the hand is on the floor. 1 more round of breath. Nice work, you guys. Bring your left hand back to your hip. Shift your gaze down towards the floor. Inhale, right fingertips reach forward and all the way up to standing. Then exhale, right foot meets the left, hands come to heart center. Take a moment to compose. We get a second chance at this Tadibasana, so going into it calm is always helpful. From here, inhale, reach your arms high, let your gaze follow. Then exhale, fold forward over the legs. Toe heel your feet to around mat width distance again, and this time we'll work right towards that Tadibasana. So here's our second chance. Now on this side, Rachel, I know you mentioned bending the arms is a little challenging. For me, I can't bend the arms until I get them far back. So you might need to bend your legs a lot, walk them back, and then you can make the arms bend. So you really want to drop it low. It's the weirdest looking position, but it's really helpful. So the steps, just as a reminder, are to wrap the legs, then maybe work on straightening one leg then the other, eventually dropping it low. I'm gonna take a peek. So Rachel, hug your elbows towards each other. Think chaturanga. Point the elbows to the back. That's better, good. Better. So yeah, the tipping over thing's normal, you guys. If that happens, yeah.
Okay. I feel like my wrists aren't, they're like really stiff too.
Wrist mobility is a big thing in this. It's hard to get it back and for the elbows to bend if your wrists are feeling tight. So that could 100% be one factor. Luann, just so you know you're muted, so if you want to say anything, you'll just have to unmute yourself. Yeah, keep hugging your elbows back. Sit. Luann and Hannah are sitting. You guys have any left? A little bit.
Yeah, that's making a difference, thinking about squeezing them in.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely my wrist. I keep coming up on my fingertips and feeling like I can do it better then.
Wrist mobility is really important in this. So that's something like if you take time to stretch prior, it might help a lot.
Okay.
Luann and Hannah, how'd it go? Good. I see a thumbs up.
Some power wash.
Cool. So we'll hit pause on the Tadibasana today then. Good. But yeah, it's the different steps. Once that's better, Rachel. Good. Yeah, so it's like once you have the legs squeezing into the arms, that's key too. You want to make sure that you have that opposition. But yeah, good job, you guys. All right, so I'm going to mute you again. Let's make our way towards our forward fold at the top of our mat once more. So just 1 round of Padahastasana. This should feel really, really good after all that compression in the front of the hip. So take a fold forward, bring your feet to hip width distance. We'll take our palms face up underneath the feet. So we want to find that kind of stepping on the hands. This is a great moment to wiggle your toes, massage your wrists maybe. And eventually on an exhale, use your arms to pull you forward, shifting your weight to your toes. Yeah, about 3 breaths here. Final inhale. Exhale, gently release your hands from underneath your feet. Now from here, nothing fancy. We're just coming down one shin, then the other to sit on our heels. So we're gonna take one big back bend here just to counteract all of that forward folding we just did. So we're gonna take a camel pose. So coming up to the shins, bring your feet to, or knees to about hip width distance here. Now this one, if you want to work towards grabbing your heels and it's a challenge, you can always tuck those toes. It's gonna give you a few extra inches of leeway. From here, we'll bring our hands to our low back, either fingertips up or down. I personally like them down because it helps slide them down the legs later. Hug the elbows towards each other. Think about pressing the hips forward slightly. As you inhale, start to lift your heart to the ceiling first. We're trying to keep the lumbar spine from bending until the very end. Now, as you exhale, keep lifting up and back over the hands. Eventually, you might slide your hands down your legs. You might reach the hands towards the heels. If it's comfortable, you can let your head drop. We have 3 breaths here. Keep lifting up through the sternum. 2 more breaths. If you have your hands on your heels, try to bring them back to your back before you come up. We inhale, lift the heart to the ceiling first, head comes up last. Then exhale, sit the hips down to the heels, both hands in the lap, one palm in the other. Just allow your eyes to close for a second. Deep breaths in and out. Breathe into the back of your body in particular. And gently blink your eyes open. And we'll move into our rabbit pose as our counter. So if this is a new one, we're shifting our weight forward. Now before you do anything, you're grabbing around the outsides of your heels. That's going to be our opposition to support the head and neck. Now as you inhale, start to lift the hips up and try to bring your forehead towards the knees. The key here is not to let the head rest too heavily on the floor. We're lifting the hips up, the hands are pulling on the heels, and that's taking weight out of the head and neck. So you should feel a really deep stretch through the back of the neck and in between the shoulders, a really deep rounding of the spine. We have about 2 more breaths right here. Final inhale. As you exhale, gently come back up, taking the weight off of your head, hips sink back to the heels. Let your head come up last. Good, you guys. Roll over to one hip once you arrive. Bring both legs out in front of you. We'll work into our Paschimottanasana next. So just our simple forward fold. Flex the feet, engage the legs. As you inhale, reach the arms high. As you exhale, fold over, grabbing onto whatever you can. You'll use that grip to pull yourself forward. So we're trying to keep the spine really long here. We're using the arms actively to find a deeper stretch. You have about 3 breaths here. Final inhale. And exhale, gently release, coming all the way back up. Now in between, because it's advanced day, we're taking a belly up vinyasa. So take your hands next to your hips, slightly back, fingertips forward. Bend your legs so your feet are on the floor. Now belly up vinyasa is just going to reverse tabletop and then sliding the hips back into a little L sit. So as you inhale, press the feet and hands into the floor, lift the hips up, reverse tabletop. Now as you exhale, keep the arms straight, send the hips back. See if you can keep the hips lifted off the floor. Maybe try hovering the feet. From there, simply lower your hips down and relax. Good job, you guys. Bring the legs out nice and wide. Upavista Konasana, wide-legged forward fold. Flexing the feet nice and strong. We'll take the hands in front of us. Take a deep inhale, lift through the heart. Then exhale, start to walk yourself forward over the legs. Allow your eyes to close. This one you can choose to keep active or you can take it a little more passive. Do whatever your body needs right now. Two more breaths. On your next inhale, start to walk your hands up nice and slow. Bring your hands to your outsides of the legs. Bring them together in front of you. Just take a moment moment to windshield wiper the legs so you can rock them side to side. Linger in the internal rotation a little bit on each side just so you can feel that oppositional stretch. Now from here, we get another belly up vinyasa because it's good to make us strong. So plant those feet, keep the knees bent, hands are slightly back. We inhale, press the hips high to your reverse tabletop position. Now as you exhale, shoot the hips back, keep the core contracted, maybe try hovering the feet. And from here, gently release the hips down. Nice work, you guys. Keep the legs straight, reach the arms forward. You're lucky I'm not doing both today, so we're just gonna roll through the spine all the way to the back. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. Once you reach your back, just bend your legs so your feet are flat on the floor. We'll move into our figure 4 next. So allow your right ankle to come to your left knee. We'll thread the arms through to grab around the left leg and just draw them into your chest. Try to keep your tailbone nice and heavy on the floor. You might play with rolling your weight slightly towards the left hip. This can sometimes increase the stretch. Take about 3 more breaths right here. Final inhale. As you exhale, keep hold of your left leg. Let your right leg go long onto the mat. So the left knee stays drawn into the chest. From here, wrap your arms around your left shin. Flex both feet. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, pull your left knee towards your left armpit, finding our wind reliever pose. So we're pulling that knee down and around the rib cage and creating a deep compression in the left side of our body. We only have 2 rounds of breath here, so on each exhale, try to squeeze your leg in a little bit tighter to you. Final inhale. Exhale, gently draw your left leg across your body into your supine twist. Allow your left shoulder to stay on the floor. You can take any leg variation that you want here. As a heads up, I'll probably run over just a few minutes today, so if you do have to head out right at 12:30, I will not be offended. Otherwise, allow yourself to relax, let your eyes close, let your body feel really heavy here. You have a couple more breaths. And gently bring your head back to center first. And then gently bring your knees back to center. Draw both into your chest for a sec. Just feel your body equalize in the middle, maybe even rock side to side. We'll make our way to our figure 4 on our second side. So feet will come back to the floor. Left foot comes to the right knee, and then thread the arms through. Draw the legs in towards you. Give yourself that squeeze, lengthen the tailbone to the floor. Maybe shift slightly over to that right side. You have a couple more breaths here. Final inhale. Exhale, keep hold of your right leg. Let your left leg extend long onto the mat. Switch your grip to over that right leg. Start to wrap around the shin. Flex both feet. Take an inhale. Then exhale, pull your right knee down and around the rib cage to feel that tight squeeze into the side of your body. Allow there to be a deep compression into the side. Each exhale, you get to squeeze it a little more. You have 2 more breaths. Final inhale. Exhale, gently draw your right leg across your body, working into your supine twist. Take whichever variation you did on the first side. Try to allow your right shoulder to be really heavy. You can shift your gaze over to the right. We'll have another 4 or so breaths here. And gently start to bring your head back to center first, and legs back to center second. If you want to take a happy baby, you can feel free to do that, grabbing onto the outsides or insides of your feet. This is just our one chance to find a little more movement before we make our way to Shavasana. So if you need to take anything else, feel free to do it. We have about 3 breaths here. Start to draw your knees back into your chest one final time. Wrap your arms around your shins, lift your head off the mat, chin to chest. Start to squeeze everything into your midline really tight. Imagine any extra stress, any extra tension that you're holding on to is gathered up right here. Take another inhale, squeeze it all one final time. And exhale, Shavasana. Allow the legs to extend long, arms release down by the sides, palms up. Let your eyes close. And start to let go of everything we've done in this practice. What worked, what didn't work. Let go of any extra thoughts or distractions. Let the breath find its natural rhythm, however it wants to move through the body. Allow the eyebrows to relax. Let the eyes fall back into the socket. Let the jaw unclench and the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. In that same way, just work your way down your entire body. Let yourself become really heavy and sink deeper into the floor. For the next couple minutes, just enjoy this Shavasana. If you'd like to stay in this Shavasana for longer, by all means do. If you're ready to start waking up, start first by deepening your breath. Allow the fresh air to move back through the body, bring fresh energy into the body. Maybe start to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Maybe let your head rock side to side. If it feels good, you can reach your arms back behind you, finding a good morning stretch like you're taking a giant yawn. And then as you're ready, you can draw your knees into your chest. Keep your eyes closed and your focus internal. Just start to make your way to a seat in whatever way feels comfortable. Once you arrive in your seat, bring your hands to heart center and allow your chin to bow. Just take a moment to thank yourself for doing something good for your mind and body for an hour out of your day. The light within me meets, greets, and honors the light within you. Namaste. Great work today, you guys. Good job on approaching Tadasana with a sense of humor. It's one that if you take it very seriously, it's usually not very fun. So great job, you guys.